boost your YouTube. Tip number 5. Hi, I'm Brian Pombo. Welcome back to Brian J. Pombo Live. What I'm holding up here is currently my most watched video on YouTube. It is nearly 2 years old. It was back when I was in the Orange office. You can, if you go far back enough and watch the old episodes, you can see those taken in the Orange office. And I'm sitting there with my son, Lucas. You can go back and watch this video. The name of the video is Reliance Is Fake. It's not a great video, but there's something about it. What gets people to click on videos? And there's a few things here that I can point to. This is an odd one. I'm going to go through all the details of why I think this one has gotten through, and it's probably not what you think. First off, the title I have on this, Self-Reliance is Fake. Now, it's not that I'm tearing down the concept of self-reliance, but I'm being very specific. I'm using a very provocative title to pull people in so that I can go about talking about self-reliance and how there's really a great misconception over what the term means. And that's what I'm really talking about there. But the saying that something is fake, especially 2 years ago, that was really still a very hot term, really made popular by the president of that time. And it was one of those things that everyone was tossing around. Is this fake? Is this real? Is this fake? Fake news, all that type of thing. And so I played along with that in calling self-reliance is fake. It's also, self-reliance is one of those things, especially in America, in the United States of America, where we don't oftentimes tear down that term. It has very positive connotations within America in general. And I wasn't tearing it down, but at the same end, I was playing with the emotions there with that title. You can have a provocative title, something that is counterintuitive, or something that says, well, I wonder why he or she thinks that. And if you can have a title like that, a headline like that, it'll pull people in, whether it be a video on YouTube or an article somewhere or a blog post. It's the same thing. That headline can truly pull people in. Now, this cover image, there's nothing special about it. There's nothing written on it. The one thing that's a little different from my other videos is I've got my little kid sitting there. And he's a little under the age of 1 there. Actually, he's hardly more than a few months old there. And he was a little guy even for his age. He was very much we used to call him Peanut. He's just a little tiny guy, and he's sitting there making noises as I'm talking, and I'm comparing the situation with being a parent versus being a child and how self-reliance plays into that. So that's kind of why he was there, and it was also one of these situations where I was just trying something different in my videos by having one of my kids with me, which I have numerous videos with kids with me, but for some reason, this one hit a chord. The interesting thing about this one, it did not take off right away. This took probably a good year before I started seeing play off of it. And then all of a sudden, started getting a few comments, and then a whole bunch of thumbs down. Okay, I got a lot more thumbs up than most of my posts, but got thumbs down out of nowhere. This thing's got 36 thumbs down on it, which is pretty high for my videos. My videos tend to not be too controversial, and I tend to not pull in people that would put a thumbs down on my videos, even if they thought so. And so I think, here's what I believe, and I have not been able to prove this. I think this video was picked up by somebody, possibly in a private Facebook group, or a Reddit thread somewhere. It ended up somewhere that I haven't been able to find, but it ended up somewhere, and everyone started making noise about it, which caused a whole lot of people to go and look at it, which caused a whole lot of people to have negative input on it. I have a few somewhat negative comments on it, about 2 that could be possibly negative. Although when I tried conversating back and forth, I really wasn't able to get much back. One of them was just kind of cryptic. I'm not quite sure what he's trying to say. You could check out the video if you're interested. But it's one of those things where I still don't know why it's gained popularity. But I think it had enough. The conjecture is, based on my understanding of YouTube's algorithm, I think it got enough attention over a short period of time, really after a year it was already out, that YouTube said, this is something that people want to see because they're interacting with it. Even if they're interacting negatively with it, they are still interacting with it. And I think they've started to put it into certain searches and put it out there to where people are seeing it. Now, they don't do that with all videos. If you think you put a video out on YouTube, you think it's automatically going to start popping up in searches and show up in all the normal places where you see YouTube's just spontaneously pop up, where the videos pop up. You're mistaken. It's probably not going to happen. It takes a lot to break through that. They've got algorithms that decide what comes and what goes based on popularity, based on engagement. And I think this one was engaged enough that it's popped through to another level in the algorithm to where YouTube is feeding it to people, because it has been constantly going up on a monthly basis for a while now. Just kind of interesting. And you're going to have that. When it comes to YouTube, the one thing I found is it's extremely unpredictable. There's certain things you can predict. There's certain things you can maneuver to get more attention. But this is one of those things that I have not tried to do with this show. This is a show that's being put out in multiple formats. YouTube is only one of them. It's being put out via podcast. I just found out recently we were missing off of a couple of major podcast players, so we made sure we put ourselves back out there. But we've got the audio going over podcast. Hi, everybody that's listening to this. We have video going out over YouTube, but also a number of other video resources, platforms. So this is how it is for me. These are just accidental things that I fell upon within the platform of YouTube. If I were really, you want to get a really good tip, I'll tell you the people who I've seen do the best on YouTube, and I've worked with people that work in YouTube and have done well in YouTube, and I have clients that get thousands and thousands and thousands of more views than I ever got on my best video. And there's one thing they do across the board that is extremely useful, and that is teaming up with other people who are on YouTube. Even if those people have a small audience, if you can get into their audience and let them know that you also have a YouTube, and they're the type of audience that would jump over to yours, especially if they're your ideal audience, or if you can interview people who have other YouTube channels, they're going to come look at it on yours, and they may stay and subscribe. You have a chance of that happening. Them watching one of your videos has the chance of more of your videos popping up over and over and over again. And just getting out there and putting your videos across other places, especially if you're focused on really growing a YouTube channel, then you got to take that YouTube embed, you take that link, and you post it over every social media. It's not what I do. In most cases, I am uploading it directly to each social media, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're doing it natively on each of those platforms. We're not necessarily using YouTube. I believe we're sending YouTube out on Twitter and a couple other places. But for the most part, we keep everything specific to the platform. And so that's one of the reasons, and my goal hasn't been to grow YouTube. So I haven't grown. You can grow it. There's a lot of pros out there. Just keep looking out there for other stuff. And I got a million more tips on how you can grow YouTube, but you don't want to listen to it from a person that hasn't done it to the extent that you want to go. If you really want to get good at growing YouTube, find out from some of the experts out there. I could tell you more of the psychology, how people work, to where it would work either on YouTube or any other platform. If you're out to get eyeballs and out to stand out in general, then I'm going to suggest you my book, 9 Ways to Amazon Proof Your Business. You get a free copy over at amazonproofbook.com. Hey, we'll be back here tomorrow night. In the meantime, you get out there and let the magic happen.